The dust rolled like smoke across the West Texas plains as a small band of Comanche warriors rode toward their camp. Leading them was Takawatin, son of Chief Peruesa of the Penatica band. At 25 winters, he had already earned respect for his courage and skill. Beside him rode a white woman, her hands loosely tied to the saddle horn. Catherine Dawson, 22, had been captured 3 months earlier when the Comanche raided her family's homestead near Fort Worth. With copper-colored hair and eyes the color of prairie grass, she was valuable, neither harmed nor accepted, living between two worlds. As they entered the camp beside a cottonwood-lined creek, women came out to greet the returning warriors. Nada, Takawatin's mother, helped Catherine down from her horse. Though they shared few words, Nada had treated her with kindness, teaching her to gather herbs and prepare hides. Catherine had proven useful, earning a fragile place among them. That evening, Chief Peruesa gathered his warriors around the fire. "The white soldiers offer 3 rifles and a horse for the woman," he said. "We meet them in 5 days." Takawatin said nothing, but his thoughts lingered on the captive who had adapted so quietly. She never begged or tried to flee. When others mocked her, she endured. Something in her strength unsettled him. Later that night, he approached her tent. "You go back to your people soon," he said in broken English. Catherine's heart twisted. She had dreamed of freedom, but now felt an unexpected ache. "Are they alive?" she asked. Takawatin shook his head. "Not no. Soldiers come. Trade." She studied his face in the moonlight. The man she feared now seemed the only one she trusted. "Thank you," she whispered. For days before the journey, Takawatin invited her on a hunt. It was a gesture of trust few captives received. As they rode through the open grassland, Catherine marveled at how the Comanche moved with their horses, like one creature born of the wind. Takawatin dismounted near a rocky spring, signaling her to wait. She watched him vanish into the tall grass, then froze as a rattlesnake slithered from the shadows. "Look out," she cried, but the warning came too late. The serpent struck his leg just above the moccasin. With a swift motion, Takawatin killed it, but the venom was already in his blood. Catherine rushed forward. "I can help," she said urgently. The other warriors hesitated, but Takawatin nodded. Catherine knelt, cutting 2 shallow X marks over the punctures, then bent and drew out the poisoned blood with her mouth, spitting it into the dust. Again and again she worked until her lips burned and his breathing steadied. Then she tore cloth from her skirt to bind the wound and slow the poison. "We must get him back," she told them through gestures. The warriors lifted their leader onto a horse, and Catherine gathered herbs she recognized from Nada's teachings. By the time they reached camp, Takawatin was feverish and pale. "Rattlesnake," Catherine explained, mimicking the motion of its strike. Nada's eyes widened, then she called for water and medicine. Together the 2 women tended to him deep into the night, using poultices of crushed roots and cool cloths. Catherine never left his side, wiping his brow, whispering words he barely understood. As dawn came, his fever broke. When his eyes opened, they met hers with quiet gratitude. "You saved me," he said. "You would have done the same," she replied. "No," he murmured, "many would let enemy die." "I'm not your enemy," Catherine said softly. Something unspoken passed between them, the fragile beginning of trust. The next day, Chief Peruesa summoned her. "My son says you saved his life," he said in halting English. "Tomorrow, the white men wait at the river. But he asks that you be given a choice, return to your people, or stay among us as a free woman." Catherine was stunned. She looked at Takawatin, who watched her silently. "I need time," she said. That night by the creek, she thought of her burned homestead, her lost family, the months she'd survived here, and how the fear had turned to belonging. At sunrise she stood before the chief. "I wish to stay," she said in Comanche. "To learn your language. And if my brother still lives, to send him word." The chief nodded solemnly. It will be as you ask. You are Puhakitu, yellow flower, whose spirit is strong. Word spread quickly. Some doubted her, but Nada embraced her with pride. As weeks passed, Catherine's new life took root. She learned to ride the Comanche way, speak their tongue, and weave stories with the women. Her copper hair, once strange, was now adorned with beads carved by Takawatin. Each day he brought her small gifts, a carved stone, sweet berries, a bracelet. Their bond deepened quietly, watched by curious eyes. One evening, Takawatin came to her teepee. "Walk with me," he said. They followed the creek until the camp disappeared from view. He handed her a small carving, a horse shaped from antler, every detail perfect. "Among my people, such a gift means a man wishes to court a woman," he said. "If you accept, it means you will consider being his wife." Catherine's breath caught. "Is that truly allowed?" "My father gives blessing," he said. "He says a woman who saves a life with courage has the heart of a leader." She closed her fingers around the carving. "Then I accept." He smiled, placing it around her neck on a leather cord. Now the courtship begins. As spring turned to early winter, Catherine, now Puhakitu, had become part of the tribe. Her courtship with Takawatin progressed through tradition, with shared gifts and blessings. Nada taught her to decorate porcupine quills for her wedding pouch. "You will make a strong wife," Nada said proudly. Catherine smiled. "This is where I belong." Their peace shattered one morning when a scout rode in shouting. Soldiers approaching, 24 men. "You must hide," Takawatin said urgently. "They come with rifles." "How many?" 2 hands of men, maybe more. The tribe began dismantling camp, leading the women and children toward caves in the cliffs. But as they moved, more soldiers appeared from the opposite ridge, a trap. "Go!" Catherine urged the others, helping children up the rocky path. Then she turned, seeing Takawatin and the warriors preparing to ride. "Wait," she shouted, running down the hill. "I know their leader, Captain Miller. He was at Fort Worth. Let me talk to him." "They will take you," Takawatin warned. "Maybe," she said, "but it may save your people." Chief Puruesa watched her with grave eyes. "You would return to the whites to protect us?" "I would risk anything for my family," she said in Comanche. After a long pause, he nodded. "Go then. My son will guard you." Catherine approached the soldiers with her hands raised. Captain Miller recognized her instantly. "Miss Dawson. We thought you dead." "Please," she said, "don't shoot. I want to speak." The captain's gaze shifted to Takawatin. "Has this savage hurt you?" "No," she said firmly. "I live with the Comanche by choice. This man is the chief's son, my betrothed." Miller's expression hardened. "You're confused. We'll take you home." "My home is here," she said. "But I will meet my brother if he still lives." "He does," Miller said. "Thomas Dawson, he rides with us." Moments later, a second column appeared, and from it came her brother, his red hair bright under the sun. "Kate," he cried, dismounting to embrace her. "I thought you were gone." Tears filled her eyes. "I'm here. Alive. But everything's changed." He studied her Comanche dress, her braided hair, the carved pendant at her throat. "You wish to stay with them?" "Yes. I found peace here, Thomas." Miller interjected angrily, "She's not staying." But Thomas raised a hand. "She's my sister, Captain. Let me speak with her." What followed was a long negotiation, between Catherine and her brother, between Thomas and Takawatin through her translation, and finally between Chief Puruesa and Captain Miller. By sunset, a fragile truce was born. The soldiers would report the tribe had moved north, sparing them further pursuit. In return, the Comanche would avoid raids within white boundaries. Thomas would remain to witness his sister's marriage, and trade routes would serve as future lines of peace. 2 weeks later, beneath the rising moon of green grass, Catherine Dawson stood beside Takawatin before her new people and her brother. She wore a beaded deerskin dress, the regalia of a chief's son. "Two worlds meet in you," the chief said in blessing. "May your joining bring peace where there has been war." Thomas, moved beyond words, presented silver bands from a town smith. "Something from your first world to take into your new one," he told her quietly. That night, as fires blazed and drums echoed, Catherine and Takawatin slipped away to their own teepee. Beneath a canopy of stars, they spoke of the future, children who would carry both her copper hair and his dark eyes, of the hope that love might succeed where bloodshed had failed. When the rattlesnake struck, Takawatin said, holding her close, "I thought it was my death. Instead, it gave me life." Catherine smiled softly. "Perhaps that is the greatest medicine, finding life in what first seems poison." Years later, travelers spoke of the white woman who became Comanche, who built a bridge of peace in a land scarred by war. Some called her a traitor, others a miracle. But in the heart of the plains, where cottonwoods whispered over the creek, Catherine and Takawatin lived as proof that love, once born of danger and choice, could heal even the oldest wounds between worlds.